Welcome to my channel. My name is Miloš and this is my daughter Anastasia. In this video I will showcase the highlights of our trip to Queensland, namely our road trip to Queensland. It's summer holidays in Australia, and what better way to enjoy an interstate holiday than by doing a long, almost 2,000 kilometers journey that we are traveling each way. Our first major destination is Brisbane, the capital of the beautiful sunny state of Queensland, and we are going to drive there via an inland route, namely via Newell Highway or Highway 839. This is going to be a 2-day journey with one stop in Dubbo, a regional centre in New South Wales, which is almost exactly halfway between Melbourne and Brisbane. On the way back, we are going to follow the coastline route along Bruce Highway in Queensland, which then changes its name into Pacific Highway in New South Wales, and then eventually becomes Princess Highway down in Victoria. However, from Sydney, we will not follow Pacific Highway, but rather Hume Freeway, which is the quickest possible route down to Melbourne from Sydney. During our trip, we will record some key highlights, including, but not limited to, South Bank Precinct, which is the cultural and social centre of Brisbane, the picturesque Tamborine Mountain in the Gold Coast hinterland, Sunshine Coast Aquarium, formerly known as Underwater World, the Big Pineapple on the Sunshine Coast, the World Heritage listed Gari Island, formerly known as Fraser Island. If time permits, we will also stop at the Tropical Fruit World near the border between Queensland and New South Wales, as well as the beautiful Central Coast in New South Wales. On the way back, we will be stopping overnight twice, once in Coffs Harbour and once in Sydney, before heading back home to Melbourne. So without any further ado, let's get on the road. The first stop will be Dubbo. Our overnight stop on the way to Brisbane was in Dubbo, which is the regional centre of New South Wales, situated in the Orana region and approximately 390 kilometres by road from Sydney, or about 850 kilometres from Melbourne, which we have just driven. Dubbo's population is approximately 43,500, and it is the trade centre of an area producing wheat, livestock, timber and fruits and vegetables. Dubbo has slaughterhouses, flour mills, sawmills and joinery works. The most popular attraction in Dubbo is its zoo, Taronga Western Plains Zoo, with landscapes that look as if they are straight from the African savannah. Other key attractions in Dubbo for which we didn't have time to visit are Royal Flying Doctor Service Visitor Experience, Old Dubbo Jail, Shoyan Japanese Gardens and Dubbo Observatory. We stayed at Orana Motel, which is a 4-star accommodation in the centre of Dubbo. They happen to have all the amenities that a 4-star motel would have, including, but not limited to, modern furniture, extra comfy beds and a great swimming pool. We didn't get to enjoy their Thai restaurant on site as we arrived a bit late after a long trip from Melbourne, but I've heard that the food there is great. We had to stay disciplined as another huge day of driving to Brisbane was awaiting us. Day 2 of our trip to Queensland, we left Dubbo at 8 AM and travelled north along Newell Highway, or Highway A39, which is a major inland route between Melbourne and Brisbane. Although it's a highway all the way, meaning that it has traffic flowing in both directions, it is a well-maintained road that creates main connection between regional centres for those who have made their living within inland regional areas. The good news is that the speed limit is 110 almost all the way in New South Wales, just like on major motorways and freeways around capital cities in Australia. Newell Highway is wide, well surfaced and signposted to make a long trip a comfortable one. Naturally, there are a lot of heavy articulated vehicles on this highway, including B-triple road trains. The highway passes through many regional centres and towns, which makes the trip more interesting. Once we crossed the border between New South Wales and Queensland, the speed limit drops to 100, as there are long sections of the road that are somewhat outdated and not maintained as well. Although we enjoyed the journey in its entirety, this little drop in standard had made us temporarily frustrated, as we had to adjust our driving to be more vigilant and stay safe. After crossing into Queensland, there was hardly any traffic almost all the way to Toowoomba, apart from occasional B-double and B-triple trucks. We also wanted to alert anyone travelling there for the first time that the mobile phone reception is non-existent along a long section of the highway between Goulburn and Toowoomba. Although Telstra has slightly more coverage than Optus and Vodafone, there are still long sections of the highway without any coverage at all. For this reason, we have prepared ourselves for any emergency by buying a powerful handheld CB radio, which would allow us to call for help and to communicate with truck drivers if need be. On the way up, we passed through some very interesting regional towns such as Coonabarabran and Narrabri. We had our first break in Coonabarabran to stretch our legs and use bathroom. Here's Anna trying to pronounce Coonabarabran, though I am not entirely sure that I am saying it correctly. Coonabarabran?
Yeah, that one. There's a sign pointing that way for the toilet.
Here's a short video that I recorded in the local park that captures the loud noise that insects there make. These type of insects are way louder than the crickets that we have in Victoria, and we were virtually unable to have a conversation because of how loud the noise was in the background. New South Wales, and you can hear the noise in the background. There's Anna there. Just wanted to capture that audio. It's almost impossible to talk here, how noisy these crickets are, whatever they call these insects. Quite fascinating. Coonabarabran is said to be the astronomy capital of Australia, as it has some of the clearest skies in the country and is the home of Australia's largest optical astronomy research facility, Siding Spring Observatory. Given the length of the trip ahead of us, and therefore our tight schedule for the day, we did not visit the observatory, unfortunately. We only stopped at the beautiful Nielsen Park in the middle of town, where they had public bathrooms and a statue of the legendary Australian kookaburra bird. Our lunch was in Moree, which is about 4 hours drive north of Dubbo. It's a small but beautiful town known for its artesian hot spring baths that are renowned for their healing abilities, as well as its cotton growing industry, which was established there in the early 1960s. Moree is located on the banks of the Mckenzie River, I hope I pronounced that properly, and it has a population of just over 7,000 people. We're surprised by this, as we had an impression that the town was much bigger given how long we travelled through it, and its parks and gardens on both banks of the river seemed vast and incredibly well kept. Our third stop, which was our second last, was at Goulburn before we crossed into Queensland and continued along Route A39 towards Brisbane. This last, approximately 1/3 of our trip between Dubbo and Brisbane, was the most eventful, as Mother Nature decided to exert her influence. We went through a number of storms and even floods on the highway. At one point we were getting concerned whether we would be able to get through, and we even thought about turning around and going back to Goulburn. However, we decided not to, as the storms were all around us and the risk of getting stuck on the road was just as realistic behind us as it was in front of us. We gained an hour once we crossed Queensland border because Queensland doesn't have daylight savings. This saved us some time once we arrived at our hotel in Brisbane. We're really pleased to have had a safe trip, and we're looking forward to exploring Brisbane the next day.
Danny Beats Classic. To the left, I don't want a bad man in my life. To the left, don't want no bomber clock in my life. I'm taking, no, I'm taking.
Queensland is the most decentralised state in Australia. This means that a large amount of population lives outside of the capital city of Brisbane. Approximately 1/2 of all the population of Queensland lives in Brisbane, and the other half live in the rest of the state. Along with the Gold Coast, Brisbane is not only the business and financial centre of Queensland, but its social and cultural capital as well. During our full day in Brisbane, we visited Botanic Gardens, Queen Street Mall, and we explored the South Bank precinct. The weather on the day became a bit temperamental in the afternoon for a while, but it was nothing that would change our plans. In fact, a little bit of rain did not seem to deter anyone from enjoying themselves. After the most delicious breakfast at the French cafe that was part of the Emporium Hotel where we were staying, we jumped on e-scooters and rode over the nearby pedestrian bridge into the city and through Brisbane Botanic Gardens before doing some shopping at Queen Street Mall. And this is the part that Anna particularly enjoyed. All right, here we go. Our food is here. Breakfast is here. Anna's having falafel souvlaki, and I'm having egg benedict, and it looks good.
By the minute.
All right, Anna and I are taking e-scooters in Brisbane here. We are just over the bridge, over the beautiful Brisbane River. You can see our hotel at the back there, Emporium Hotel, and just the 360 of the beautiful Brisbane city and the South Bank. Look at that. And there's Victoria Bridge there in the distance. We're going to go over it later on, but for now we're going a little bit of shopping to do a bit of shopping at the Queen Street Mall. The place was buzzy with great vibes as it was packed with people shopping, enjoying a brunch or a drink with plenty to do. One thing that was not as easy to find was a coffee shop. This probably stood out to me a little because Melbourne's coffee culture means that there is a coffee shop on every corner in and around the city. However, the coffee that I did find and had was of great quality. I'm not sure if I would compare it to Melbourne coffee, but it was great. South Bank Precinct is Brisbane's cultural and social centre, and this was very evident on the day. From its prominent Brisbane sign, its performing arts centre, the Brisbane Wheel, Nepalese Pagoda, Street Beach and plenty more, South Bank had plenty on offer. After taking a stroll along the river in South Bank, we both felt that the lifestyle there was far more laid back and enjoyable than down in Melbourne. This is somewhat ironic as Melbourne has always had a reputation for its laid back lifestyle. Given that it was Sunday and in the midst of school holidays, South Bank was packed with people and lots of different indoor and especially outdoor activities for young and old. While we were still somewhat drowsy from our long road trip from Melbourne, and after a full day of strolling on foot, we did not want to leave South Bank as the vibe there was amazing. We went from one place to another along the river, had an awesome ice cream, and just stopped along the way to check each place and activity as we slowly made our way back to the hotel. However, our schedule was tight and we had plenty to look forward to, so we retired to our hotel early in the evening and just had our dinner there. The next day we were going to the popular destination, the Tamborine Mountain. On day 4 of our trip to Queensland, we visited the beautiful Tamborine Mountain, some 62 kilometres southwest of Brisbane, which takes about an hour by car. Tamborine Mountain is geologically rich as it was formed from the lava that outpoured from Mount Warning a long time ago when Australia was geologically active. When coupled with good rainfall, the rich volcanic soil creates conditions that are ideal for local flora to thrive. And where there's plenty of flora, there's typically plenty of fauna, which is true for this area. The plateau of Tamborine Mountain is 550 metres above sea level, approximately 4 kilometres wide and 8 kilometres long, and this is where all the action takes place. The natural beauty of the area has attracted lots of tourism and hospitality, including many galleries, antique and craft shops, tea rooms, restaurants and wineries. In addition, the rich volcanic soil provides for a diversity of horticulture, including crops such as avocado, macadamia nuts and kiwi fruit. Anna and I visited Rainforest Skywalk, which is one of the most prominent attractions on Tamborine Mountain and Queensland's only family-run skywalk. Set in a magical 30 acres of privately owned rainforest, the skywalk features an eco-gallery, Birdwing Cafe, a very cool souvenir shop which we stopped at on the way out, and the most impressive skywalk, which is what we enjoyed the most. The subtropical rainforest was lush and it felt like we were in a dense jungle somewhere in the Amazon basin, potentially. The walk itself took around 2.5 hours with many stops along the way, including at the cantilever, which is cable suspended high up in the forest. Very impressive. Apart from Gari Island, which we visited later on our trip, this would have to be our next most favourite attraction in Queensland. We've taken plenty of footage during our walk, and here is some more of it. Enjoy. Anna and I just finished the big rainforest skywalk here at Tamborine Mountain. Absolutely amazing. It's been raining on and off, but subtropical or tropical rain actually complements it. We didn't mind at all. We even brought umbrellas, but we didn't use them. But the rainforest is absolutely fascinating. It is like a very thick jungle. You might as well be in the Amazon jungle. You probably wouldn't know much unless you knew you're in Australia, and because obviously we have different flora and fauna to a large extent, but it was very, very thick, extremely high rainforest. The only family only run and owned Sky Forest Walk. How did you like the rainforest skywalk?
It was really good, it was really fun, and there was like a lot of interesting plants, and my favourite part was like looking at the water and also seeing the butterflies like going up to the flowers, because you don't really see many butterflies like out in the wild, you know, so there were a lot there.
I saw you filming them there. You were doing some close-up filming there. That was quite amazing. We enjoyed the rainforest skywalk a little too much, that by the end of it we realized that we wouldn't have any time to visit glowworms, which is another attraction situated within Tamborine Mountain. So instead we decided to drive to our next destination, which is the beautiful Sunshine Coast, just over 2 hours drive from Tamborine Mountain. We checked into our accommodation for the next 2 nights, the Novotel Sunshine Coast Resort. On day 5, we visited Sea Life Sunshine Coast Aquarium and the Big Pineapple, both of which were about 20 minutes away from our resort. The weather was perfect on the day, so we decided to do some kayaking at the resort, as well as to take a dip in the pool in the afternoon. We then had dinner at Sunshine Coast Plaza, which is in Maroochydore, also about 20 minutes away. We both enjoyed delicious food from Batty's Burgers there. Without any more commentary, here is some of the footage from day 5 of our Queensland trip.